Okay, we're back to that point. For good governance, the Bangsamoro Parliament may enact a local government code.
So it will have its own local government code, meaning that it's already outside of the jurisdiction of the Republic of the Philippines.
Section 8, Philippine Congress dash Bangsamoro Parliament Forum. There shall be a Philippine Congress Bangsamoro Parliament Forum for purposes of cooperation and coordination of legislative initiatives.
Sounds like an...
They're parity, they're on parity.
Just like
It's like the LEDAC.
Philippines,
It's like the
Indonesia. No, it's the Interparliamentary Union.
Yes, yes. Okay, we will go through this.
About the loans, no, I'd like to read the the provision on the loans.
Yes.
The contracting of loans, credits, and other forms of indebtedness by the Bangsamoro government shall be for the development and welfare of the people of the Bangsamoro. And then there is this sovereign guarantee, no?
Yes.
Subject to acceptable credit worthiness, such loans may be secured from domestic and foreign lending institutions, except foreign and domestic loans requiring sovereign guarantee. The Bangsamoro Parliament may authorize the Chief Minister to contract such domestic or foreign loans. The loans so contracted may take effect upon approval by a majority of all the members of the Bangsamoro Parliament. Regarding sovereign guarantee, the central government shall assist the Bangsamoro government in complying with the requirements for a speedy issuance of the sovereign guarantee.
Yes.
So what if they do not pay the loan? It's the entire Filipino people
who will pay for
from Ilocos Norte
Yes.
to Mindanao who will pay for it.
And this is even clearer, Ferdinand. Article 7, the Bangsamoro government, legislative authority. The Bangsamoro Parliament shall have the authority to enact laws on matters that are within the powers and competencies of the Bangsamoro government. Again, I am asking, why not ordinances?
Yes, it's very basic, no? You do not have to be a lawyer to know that. You do not have to be a political scientist to know that. That when you speak of laws, it means that it is enacted by a sole legislative authority of a country.
Yes.
So this is not a legislative authority of a country because we cannot create a country. My God, no, we cannot create a new country. We are not. We do not have the power to do that. So it should only be using the word ordinance.
This is what's happening is actually an amputation of the Republic.
Yes, a terrible amputation of the Republic, voluntarily being done
Yes.
by the Republic itself
Okay.
or by people pretending to be representatives of the Republic.
Section 9, regional parties. Regional political parties will duly accredited by a Bangsamoro electoral office.
So they will have their own COMELEC. So they're not satisfied that the nephew of the Tukan Abbas is the chairman of the COMELEC of the Republic of the Philippines. They want to have their own COMELEC.
Section 10, redistricting. The Parliament shall have the power to reconstitute by law the parliamentary districts apportioned among the provinces, cities, municipalities, and geographic areas of the Bangsamoro to ensure equitable representation in Parliament. The redistricting, merging, or creation of parliamentaries shall be based on the number of inhabitants, additional provinces, cities, and geographic areas which shall become part of the territory of the Bangsamoro government.
No, that's the problem, no? They will have representatives of their districts in their own parliament, and at the same time, they will have representatives of their districts in the House of Representatives. So they will be represented twice over. But the other Filipino people will only be represented in the House of Representatives. So there's an unequal treatment of the law.
What do you think of this, Ferdy? Section 11, Bangsamoro Electoral Code. The Bangsamoro Transition Authority, which is, by the way, mostly composed of the MILF,
Yes, the Moro Islamic Liberation Front.
shall enact the Bangsamoro Electoral Code, which shall be correlated to the national elections insofar as these are consistent with this basic law.
So the BTA will have the power to enact a law. Not only a law, but a code.
Okay.
A code of laws.
And here, the Bangsamoro Electoral Office shall likewise implement the Bangsamoro Electoral Code enacted by Parliament in the Bangsamoro and shall perform the following functions. Very, very interesting. Number 3, schedule plebiscites for expansion. and prepare rules and regulations for Bangsamoro elections and plebiscites for the promulgation of the Commission. All rules and regulations governing Bangsamoro elections and plebiscites shall emanate from the Bangsamoro Electoral Office.
It's actually a new republic that we are creating.
Section 13, term of office. The initial term of office of the members of the Parliament shall be 3 years, without prejudice for the Bangsamoro Transition Authority to include in the election code a new term of office, which means it can be longer than
3 years.
3 years. Okay.
And then I'd like to cite here the preferential rights of bona fide inhabitants of the Bangsamoro. Qualified citizens who are bona fide inhabitants of the Bangsamoro shall have preferential rights over the exploration, development, and utilization of natural resources, including fossil fuels, petroleum, natural gas and coal, and uranium within the Bangsamoro territory. Existing rights over the exploration, development, and utilization of natural resources shall be respected until the expiration of the corresponding leases, permits, franchises, or concessions unless legally terminated. So this means that there is an unequal protection of the law because the Bangsamoro people will have preferential treatment while the Filipino people will have unpreferential treatment. Or
we're secondary citizens.
We are secondary citizens in our own country.
The first Bangsamoro Parliament, for the first Bangsamoro Parliament, salaries and emoluments of its members shall be determined by law, passed by the Bangsamoro Transition Authority, which is composed of
MILF.
The MILF.
So the authority will be equal to the House of Representatives and the Senate because they can enact a law.
Okay.
But under our system, the House and the Senate will have to tackle their differences to enact a law. But this one is only the BTA composed of the MILF that has the power to enact a law. So the BTA is more powerful than the Congress of the Philippines.
Section 16, disclosure. This is like the SALN, but it is not exactly a SALN. It says, make full disclosure of their financial and business interest. Why not call it a SALN? I'm just...
because they really want to be different.
Okay.
They really want to be viewed as another country, no longer the Philippines. That's why they're doing that. And then while at the same time they are doing that, we will spend 7 billion pesos for the first year alone and another 10 billion pesos over 5 years.
Okay.
So while they are separating from us, we will be the ones to be paying for their separation.
Okay.
So we will be picking up a stone and hitting our head with that stone.
Now, Article 9, basic rights. The basic rights in the Bangsamoro, right to life and inviolate one's person, dignity, right to freedom, expression, right to freedom. I'm wondering, what happened to the Bill of Rights of the 1987 Constitution? Why is it being reiterated here?
I'm baffled also, no, Eric? And it seems to me that the ones who wrote this BBL are not Filipinos. It's very apparent. It's very apparent that if you will look at it, because this was drafted in Kuala Lumpur. I doubt if Filipinos drafted this.
It even says, the Bangsamoro Parliament shall pass a law for the promotion and protection of the above enumerated rights. Freedom, right to freely choose one's place of residence, etc.
What if?
Why the redundancy?
And what if the laws are not passed? Will their rights, will those rights be respected still? And then another one here, Eric, no?
Yeah.
There shall be created a joint body for the zones of joint cooperation composed of a Bangsamoro minister as chair, at least one representative of a constituent local government unit of the Bangsamoro adjacent to the Sulu Sea, and at least one representative of a constituent local government unit of the Bangsamoro adjacent to the Moro Gulf. So it means that the Republic of the Philippines will have to enter a joint body for a joint cooperation as far as the Sulu Sea is concerned and the Moro Gulf is concerned. And coincidentally, this is where the oil and the natural gas are located, in which the Americans, the British, and the Malaysians are very much interested.
Okay, Section 7, Bangsamoro Human Rights Commission. There is hereby created an office called the Bangsamoro Human Rights Commission, which shall be independent and impartial office within the Bangsamoro that shall have the same powers and functions as the National Commission on Human Rights.
So why the redundancy, no? Why do we have to pay for another entity and another set of personnel to do the job of the Commission on Human Rights?
And then housing and human settlements. The Bangsamoro Parliament shall pass a law to create housing and human settlements agency.
What
will
happened to the National Housing Authority? So it's very expensive for the Filipino people. That's why I'm saying the plebiscite must include not only the people in
The
the
entire
so-called
country.
Bangsamoro, but the entire country, because they're creating redundancies.
Yes, the Bangsamoro Parliament may pass labor laws that expand, improve upon, or enhance the rights stated therein.
You know, that's equivalent to federalism. That's equivalent to federalism. You will be creating the same redundant structures, the same redundant offices and personnel, all at the expense of the poor taxpayers. As far as now, we are already heavily taxed and the prices have already increased because of these taxes.
Section 15, how do you read this for the settler communities? The Bangsamoro government shall ensure settlers shall enjoy the rights guaranteed in this basic law. For this purpose, the Bangsamoro Parliament shall create an office for settler communities that shall promote welfare, address issues and concerns of settlers in the Bangsamoro. Who are the settlers?
Who are the settlers? The MILF?
Are we going to be considered settlers already? Because who is the settlers here? And then the schools, colleges, universities existing in the autonomous region as of the date of the approval of this basic law and such other schools and institutions that may be established in the Bangsamoro shall be deemed integral components of the educational system of the Bangsamoro government. There is also here the tribal university system. This is really something that our people should be
aware of
and be reading.
Like for example, when it comes to power, you know, we can generate cheap power from Mindanao through the use of the tremendous oil, natural gas, and uranium in Mindanao. But it says here that the Bangsamoro government shall have authority to regulate power generation, transmission, and distribution operating exclusively in the Bangsamoro and not connected to the national transmission grid, as you have read earlier.
Yes.
So, will we continue to have high prices of electricity in Luzon and Visayas while they will enjoy too much electricity and they will even be able to export electricity to Malaysia?
Would you believe there's an intergovernmental fiscal policy board?
Yes.
Section 37.
Just like the joint exploration and the joint...
There is hereby created an intergovernmental fiscal policy board that shall address revenue imbalances, fluctuations in the regional financial needs and revenue-raising capacity of the Bangsamoro.
Not intra-governmental, but intergovernmental. So they are equal to the Republic of the Philippines, the government of the Republic of the Philippines.
You know, it's unfortunate that it even has concurrent powers with the central government. You know, our people should really read this, because this is really very troublesome, Ferdi. And the funny thing is, this was the very same a copy of the MOA AD, which was originally rendered unconstitutional. So why are we still pushing this?
You know, we will be the only country in the world that will voluntarily cut a very big portion of its territorial lands and territorial seas with all the uranium and the natural gas and the oil, voluntarily giving that away, and then still subsidizing.
Final question to you, Ferdi. Why is the MILF being given preferential treatment? Why is Normiswari not on board? Why is not the MNLF not really exactly on board? The MNLF or Normiswari recognized by the OIC?
Not even the Sultanate of Sulu
is also included. And why is Sabah not even being discussed as part of the ancestral domain? Very briefly.
Correct. Because, to be blunt, this is a Malaysian document.
Okay.
This is...
written in Putrajaya.
Yes, this is to ensure that the government of the Philippines and the entire Filipino people will no longer be able to recover Sabah.
Okay.
And to ensure that even Mindanao and Palawan, if it were possible, be also in the hands of the Malaysians through a so-called Bangsamoro Republic. And it is not surprising to me if in the future, this Bangsamoro Republic will become the 14th state of the Federation of Malaysia.
Well, that's the final word for Republika. Thank you very much, Ferdy. As always, very passionate. Wala na po tayong panahon, maiksi po, pero basahin niyo po itong Bangsamoro Basic Law para maunawaan po ninyo. Ito po si Eric Espina, palaging nagsasabi, magmasid, makialam, higit sa lahat ay manindigan. Dahil wala pong magmamahal sa Pilipino kung hindi ang Pilipino. Daghang salamat, mayong gabi, kaninyong tanan.